yesterday there was a little bit of confusion with regard to a for loop in the selection algorithm, and the confusion was right here with the plus plus I. I mean, we're all accustomed to I plus plus, always seeing that in the for loop, but they threw that at us, and so what that is a pre-increment operator, and what it means is that I is incremented before this expression is evaluated. So to give you a little bit more of a concrete idea, let me go ahead and just say this is the pre-increment operator and this is the post-increment operator. This increments I before this expression is evaluated. This increments I after that expression is evaluated. So if I take a look here, we have a is equal to 0. I'm printing out a plus plus. So since it's a post-increment operator, it is going to increment a after this expression has been evaluated. So let me go ahead and run that, and you can see that what is printed out is 0, right? Because a is not incremented until we're done with line 16. So if I go ahead and do this and print out a, it's going to print out 0, because that's what it's equal to at this moment, and then it's equal to 1 here on line 17. And then if we go ahead and show how that is going to look with the pre-increment operator, we can run that, and you can see that right when this expression is being evaluated, a is incremented. So we get not 0 printed out, but we get 1 printed out, and then after, if we print out a, its value doesn't change. Alright, so why is that important? Well, we have this for loop here, and what was thought was that since this is a pre-increment operator, that the value of I was not changing until after the for loop has been executed. But that's not true. So what's happening here is that the way the for loop works is it first comes in, creates the I variable, sets it equal to 0, checks to see if this is true. If it's true, it comes into the brackets. When it finishes the body of the for loop, it comes up and runs this incrementation. Then when it's finished with that incrementation, it checks again if that's true, comes into the brackets, and so on. So if I go ahead and run this, what do we expect to be printed out? Well, we come in here, I is equal to 0, checks if this is true, does not do this, goes into the brackets, prints out the value of I, which is 0, gets to the bottom of the for loop, comes up and increments I. I is equal to 1 now, right? Equal to 1 as you're evaluating this, this expression. And then it comes into the body of the for loop, and then the system print line prints out the 1. So it starts with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? We get that extra 0 because of this system print line. All right, and now let's go ahead and change this up to I++. And I'll go ahead and run it, and we get the same thing, right? Why? Because it's evaluated the same way. We have I is equal to 0, checks if this is true. It is true, so it prints out the 0. When it gets to the bottom of the for loop, it comes up and increments I using the post-increment operator, which means at this moment that you're doing the I is still equal to 0. It's not until we move on to the next instruction, which is on line 19, that I is now equal to 1, right? And 1 is printed out. Then we get to the bottom, we increment I, it's still equal to 1 here. It's not equal to 2 until we get to the next instruction, which is this comparison, is I less than 5. And then we get down to here, and we print out the 2. So if you ever see the for loop with a post-increment operator, don't be scared. There is no change. It's the same behavior. The only reason there would be a change in behavior is if we had a variable like a is equal to I++, and we printed out the a. What would happen in this case? Well, we enter into the for loop, I is equal to 0. This is true, so it comes in and prints out a, which is going to be equal to 0. Right? Gets to the bottom of the for loop, comes up, it runs this expression where we're using the post increment operator. So I here is equal to its last value, which is 0, right, at this moment. So a is equal to 0. And then when we get to here, I is equal to 1, right? Because the incrementation doesn't happen until after the expression is evaluated. So then here, I is less than 5, that's true. And then we get an inside here, and it prints out 0 again. So let me go ahead and run that. And you can see here we have 0 and 0. So in the far out chance that you have a for loop that looks something like this, that's the only time that the post increment versus the pre increment is going to have an effect on the algorithm. And so to sum up, in the selection sort algorithm, when we saw this happening, it should not scare you. You should just think of it as, okay, there's no change in behavior.